Hey friends, welcome back to She's At It Again. My name's Tanya, and it's right after lunch, and I'm about to start some dough to make some flatbread pizzas. Now, if you're thinking, what you're making a pizza, what are you making? I'm making flatbreads, which I've never made before that I remember, but we're going to turn these into individual pizzas. So come go with us as we start such a simple dough. It's ridiculous how simple this is. And you'll think to yourself, all this time I've been buying pizza for the crust in a restaurant, and that's all it is. So, yeah, let me show you. All right, I have my mixing bowl right here. You do not have to have a mixer for this. If you have a wooden bowl and a stick, you could probably mix this up. I'm not even kidding. This is the easiest dough to work with. It kind of just repairs itself, even if you goof up. So I have a cup of what I would consider like hot bath water. This is about 100 degrees, maybe a little bit over, not too much. You don't want to get it above 120 because that'll kill your yeast. We're going to add a little bit of yeast to this. So pouring this in my mixing bowl. I'm going to take a little bit of honey. When I say a little bit, just like maybe, I don't know, that much. It's really not that much. Just stir it around in there. That's going to give the yeast something to eat. They're going to get happy, they're going to wake up, and they're going to think, oh, it's time to eat. And it's going to get super active. So between the warm water and food, it's like a baby. It's going to be excited. This is yeast. This is just active yeast. Not necessarily a quick yeast, but that would work too. It really does not matter. And I'm going to put maybe a half a teaspoon in there. And just let it come alive. All right, I'll turn the camera back on when it's nice and foamy, and I'll show that to you. Okay, I caught this coming alive. I want to show it to you. I'm hoping you can see that. It started moving right in the center. I don't know how well you can see that. Anyway, there's a center part that looks like it's kind of waking up, which is really what it's doing. All right, to this, I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil. When I say a little bit, let's go with 1 to 2 tablespoons. I'll just do a couple of glugs. On top of that, we're going to add 3 cups of, this is just organic plain flour, not enriched. We've had a talk about this before. If you see enriched, pass it by. Go get some flour that's got everything in it that you think you're buying. So 3 level cups. About a teaspoon of salt. This is pink Himalayan salt. It's my favorite kind. We're going to put our dough hook on here. Plug it in. And we're going to let it mix just until it's not got dry clumps in it anymore. Okay, dough is looking good. If I were making bread, this is just the beginning of mixing it up, but honestly, with this, I'm telling you, it just doesn't matter. Now you would be okay taking a towel or like a plastic shower cap from a hotel that you haven't used yet, putting it over this and letting it sit on the counter. But I don't want my mixer just sitting on the counter for right now. So I'm going to do what I've been doing lately. And I have just one of those food storage bags. It's not the zip top kind. It's just the kind with nothing at the top. And I'm going to take this dough, and that's all the dough right there. So I'll show you how clean it comes out of the bowl. That's the bowl. I'm going to take this dough, drop it in here. Not squeeze all the air out necessarily, but set it over, and I'm going to put it right there on the counter. And that's where it's going to stay for a few hours. So we won't eat dinner till around 5 o'clock or so. So about 4, I'll come back in and start making flatbreads with this dough right here. And I'll turn the camera on so you can see the process. It's going to require a griddle. So I'll also have dough left to make pizza later on this week. I usually always keep pizza dough in my refrigerator, but this will be part of it for our dinner tonight. So in the meantime, I'm going to wash up my dishes. I'm going to do my daily Bible reading because we're going through the Bible this year at church, through the whole thing, and we're in Exodus, and it's getting pretty crazy. So anyway, got a few hours to get other things done, but we'll come back and finish this up. Meanwhile, this is going to rise. It'll probably have enough gas in the bag to where I'll have to release some of it, but it's not going to hurt anything. But it's going to rise beautifully. And this is how we do our pizza dough nearly every time. And it'll stay in my fridge for sometimes up to a week and a half. And the longer it stays in there, the better it gets. It's just the craziest thing. I'm telling you, this is kind of the magical dough. And I've shown this dough several times on this channel, but once you try it, you'll go, oh, wow, that really is very good. So just minimal sweetness to it. Hardly even detectable. That's just for the yeast to eat. So you've got good quality dough right there. So we'll be back and make some flatbreads in a bit. All right, we're back. And this is what our dough looks like. I didn't have to push too much air out of it. It really wasn't rising like crazy, just because probably it's not warm weather and it's not really that warm in my house. I mean, it's comfortable, but it's not like overly warm like a proofing oven. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm only going to need, let's see, this is enough dough for 2 pizzas, and the flatbread that I want is going to be about 1/4 of a pizza, and I only need 2 of these. So I'm going to take half of this. I'll put the rest of this in the refrigerator, store that, and make pizzas out of that. And we'll make our flatbread out of this. Let me turn this down a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. I'm hoping these will be big enough. I think they will. So I got a little bit of flour on my countertop here. And if you roll these out and you think, oh, they never turn out round, it's okay. Nobody ever complained about a misshapen pizza crust if the pizza's good enough. So basically what I'm doing is just rolling this out, and then we're going to fry it like we would a tortilla, only tortillas don't have a leavening agent in it, so they don't have yeast, but these will probably get a little bit puffy, but maybe not overly puffy. So just know, if you do not have a pizza stone or an oven that you think, there's no way I can either heat my oven up that high, because usually I turn mine on about 500 to make a pizza. If you don't have an oven that you think is sufficient for making pizza, you can always just make a flatbread. Now this will bake at 350 once we get our ingredients on the top, but for right now we're just making basically the crust to it. Okay, so there's one right there. And I have my skillet on the burner back there. You can see it right there. It's a black cast iron skillet, so it's really not that easy to see from here. But I have it heating up just on a pretty low burner, but for some reason, when I turn the bigger circle of the burner on, because it's a smooth top, when I heat the bigger circle up, it seems like that a 2 is a lot warmer than if I just heat the smaller circle up on a 2. So anyway, all that being said, I make tortillas with my ovens, or the burner set on about 2, so we'll see what these do. I have one doggy who is pacing, or as my daughter used to say, pasting the floor because she knows it's just about time for them to eat. Okay, I think that looks okay. All right, let me see if my skillet's hot. Yep, it's pretty hot. All right, let's go over there to the oven. All right, I have some beef tallow or beef lard in the skillet. Normally I'd tell you put it in there, don't touch it, but I ruined that, didn't I? Because I touched it just now, but that's okay. It didn't wrinkle up too bad. I'm going to turn that burner up just a little bit higher. I can see a few bubbles popping up right there, but it's not going crazy by any means. Ideally, I would have left it for several hours or even overnight in the fridge, but I just came up with the idea to do it, so that's when I need to do it, because who knows what's going to happen tomorrow. I'll have something else planned by tomorrow. I have a cooling rack sitting over here to this side. I'm just going to put them on that for right now. What you looking for, Lacey? I know, it's almost time to eat. Give me 3 minutes. Okay, give me 3 minutes. Okay, we got a bubble coming up right there, so that just tells me that it's cooking all the way through. A little tiny bit of browning going on there, and that's perfect. There's a little spot right here I'm trying to get to cook, but it won't lay flat in the skillet for me. I think it'll be okay though. Okay, I think that one's done. I'll put that over to the side and put that one down. And this is what this one looks like. Okay, now we have a bubble coming up right there. Let me turn this light on a bit so you can, I don't know if you can see that or not. It's puffing up though. Oh, you can see it now. All we're doing is just making sure that it's not raw in the middle, because we're going to put our toppings on it, bake it again, so it's not like it's, you know, going to be doughy. We just want it to be cooked throughout in the skillet. You don't have to toast it, brown it necessarily. Okay, so that's the making of the flatbread for right now. I'm going to feed the dogs, I'm going to walk the dogs, and then when I come back, we'll put our toppings on, we'll bake them off, and I'll let you look at it then. So, hang in there. To start assembling these, and I walked off and left this one in the skillet. I guess that one's good enough, huh? So that'll be mine. All right, first thing we're going to put on here, I took about as much as a garlic clove. Mine were pre-minced, but I added, well, a couple cloves of garlic and about 4 teaspoons of olive oil. And I'm going to divide those between, or divide that between these two. And this is going to kind of be our sauce. So this does not have a red pizza sauce or a white pizza sauce to it. It just has olive oil and garlic. Spread it around. That smells good already, but it's just the garlic, I know. All right, next thing I want to put on there is this prosciutto. And they come with these little films of kind of like cellophane in there. I'm just going to put a couple on each pizza. Now, the recipe calls for, let me see what it says, 3 slices of prosciutto on each pizza. That's definitely a recipe put out by the company that sells the prosciutto, because I don't know that I'd want 3 whole pieces on just a flatbread pizza. All right, now we're going to put, this is just thin sliced provolone cheese. I cut up what I thought each one of these would use. I have my pizza stone obviously heating up in the oven. Well, I shouldn't say obviously. Not everybody leaves their pizza stone in the oven. I leave my pizza stone in the oven all the time. Okay, about 8 Kalamata olives each. This is what a Kalamata olives look like. These have been pitted. I leave my pizza stone in the oven all the time, so when I preheat my oven for this, it's getting preheated right now. I probably need to open these up so they won't roll off. That's probably a good idea. Okay, and then I have a few kind of pitiful little basil leaves that I have my basil plants overwintering out in the sunroom. And they still smell so good, but they really do not have a lot of growth on them right now. But I got enough to put a few leaves on that. Okay, I'm going to slide these in the oven. I'm going to put this right here so you can see just how I'm putting it in the oven. I'm just going to put it on that pizza stone in the bottom. Get over there, Olive. And my oven's only set at 350, so it's not like it's scorching hot in there, but we're going to bake these. This calls for 5 to 7 minutes, so this is going to be quick. We'll be right back. Okay, note here, I'm going to put instructions, a recipe in the description, but we're going to have this oven temperature turned higher because 350 doesn't really seem to get it just hot enough to make that cheese bubbly and melty. Just an observation. Okay, here's our flatbread pizzas with prosciutto and provolone. Okay, recipes in the description as always, and we look forward to sharing something again with you real soon. So you got flatbread, and then you got pizzas to make with it. So get busy. Ba-ba-da-ba-ba.